I don't tell this story often. My sisters don't either. We made a quiet agreement about it sometime in our 20s. Not to bring it up at family dinners. Not to use it as a party piece. Some things lose their weight when you turn them into entertainment. This is one of them. But I'm going to tell it now. It was 1991. I was 9. My sisters were 7 and 11. Our parents had been divorced for about 2 years by then, and every other weekend we stayed at our dad's girlfriend's house. She lived in a narrow townhome on a street called Ridgeway. I still remember the name, because I used to watch for the sign from the back seat of his car, and every time I saw it, my stomach would tighten a little. I didn't know why back then. I thought I just didn't like her. Now I think it was the house. The layout was strange. The front door opened directly into the living room, and the staircase came down into that same room. No hallway, no landing. Just steps descending straight into the space where we slept. 3 sleeping bags in a row on the carpet. My older sister closest to the stairs. Me in the middle. My younger sister against the wall. We always slept in that order. She insisted. The television sat across from us. It was old even then. Wood-panelled, heavy, with 2 dials on the front and a cracked plastic antenna taped back together. No remote. You wanted to change the channel, you got up and turned the knob. You wanted to turn it off, you pulled the button out with a loud click that you could feel in your teeth. The first time it came on by itself, I thought my sister had done it. She thought I had. We argued about it in whispers for 10 minutes before we realized neither of us had moved. The screen was full of static, grey and white noise, loud enough to fill the whole downstairs. The channel dial still pointed to 4. That's what we'd been watching before bed. Channel 4. But Channel 4 wasn't static. Channel 4 was a movie. I got up and pushed the button in. The TV clicked off. We went back to sleep. It happened again the next weekend, and the weekend after that. Always at night. Always static. Always Channel 4. Pointing exactly where we'd left it. We started telling ourselves it was ghosts. We were kids. Ghosts were funny. Ghosts were something you dared each other to believe in while you giggled under the covers. Ghosts were safe, because ghosts weren't real. We kept telling ourselves that for almost a year. The night it changed was in the fall. October, maybe early November. I remember because my younger sister had a Halloween sticker on her sleeping bag, and I kept staring at it in the dark. The TV had already turned on twice that night, static both times. We were getting used to it. My sister had stopped getting up to turn it off. She'd just reach over with her foot and pull the plug out of the wall. The third time, the plug was already out. The TV came on anyway. None of us said anything. I remember the silence very clearly. 3 kids, wide awake, staring at a television that was running on nothing. And then we heard it. A sound at the top of the stairs. Soft. A small tug, like something plastic tapping against wood. Then another. Then a steady rhythmic bouncing, getting closer, getting louder. A blue rubber ball rolled off the last step and came to rest in the middle of the carpet, right between our sleeping bags. None of us owned a blue ball. I want to be careful about how I describe what happened next, because I've told this story to my wife, and to one therapist, and to exactly no one else. And every time I tell it, I notice I want to soften it. I want to make it funnier. I want to put distance between me and the memory. I'm not gonna do that now. My older sister screamed for our dad. We all did. We screamed his name over and over, the way kids scream when something is very wrong. And there was no answer. No footsteps, no door opening, nothing. The house was completely silent. We went up the stairs together, holding hands. I was in the middle again. We got to the top and his bedroom door was shut, and we could hear him snoring through it. A deep, heavy, open-mouthed snore that didn't break or pause. Not even when we pounded on the door. We opened it. He was on his back. His mouth was open. His arm was hanging off the side of the bed. We shook him awake and he sat up fast, and he was furious. Not confused, not groggy. Furious. He yelled at us for waking him up and told us to get back downstairs, and he slammed the door in our faces. I remember my older sister starting to cry then. Very quietly. She was trying to hide it. We turned to go back down. The door to the other bedroom, the empty one, the guest room, the one that had nothing in it but a stripped mattress and a closet. Not drifted, not swung, slammed. Hard enough that I felt it in my chest. Hard enough that a picture frame on the wall jumped off its nail and hit the carpet. We ran. I don't remember the stairs. I remember the sleeping bags and diving into them and pulling them over our heads. And my younger sister saying, "Please, please, please, please," into the fabric, over and over, like a prayer she didn't know the rest of. The TV came on. It wasn't static this time. It was They Live. John Carpenter's movie. Playing from somewhere near the middle. The alley scene, where the man puts the sunglasses on and sees the truth underneath the world. I didn't know the movie then. I know it now. I've never been able to watch it. The TV was unplugged. I want to say that one more time. The TV was unplugged. The cord was on the floor next to the outlet. I could see it from under my sleeping bag. Because I had pulled the fabric down just enough to look, it played for maybe 10 minutes, maybe less. I don't know. Time wasn't working right. Then it clicked off on its own, and the house went completely quiet, and none of us slept until the sun came up. The blue ball, gone, missing in the morning. We looked for it. We tore that living room apart. Under the couch behind the TV stand, in the closet by the front door, up and down every step of the staircase. My younger sister even checked inside the empty bedroom upstairs, with the door propped open, and both of us standing in the hall, watching her. Nothing. We told our dad at breakfast, all three of us talking over each other. He sat at the table with his coffee, and he listened to the whole thing without interrupting once, which wasn't like him. When we finished, he took a long sip and said, "Yeah, ghosts are real. Eat your cereal." That was it. That was everything we ever got from him. He broke up with that girlfriend about 6 months later. We never went back to the house on Ridgeway. I drove past it once in my 30s, on a work trip through that town, and I almost pulled over. I didn't. I kept driving. My hands were shaking on the wheel, and I didn't know why. My dad is 73 now. He has a good memory. He can tell you what he was wearing on his first date with my mother in 1978. He can name every car he's ever owned in order. I asked him about that night, 2 Christmases ago. I was half drunk, and I finally had the nerve. He looked at me for a long time before he answered. Longer than I was comfortable with. Then he said, I heard it too. I heard all of it. I couldn't move. I couldn't open my eyes. I couldn't answer you. I lay there the whole time, and I listened to my 3 little kids screaming for me, and I could not make my body work. He took a drink. I never told you, because I didn't want you to know I wasn't coming. I think about that a lot. I think about the ball. I think about they live playing on an unplugged television. I think about the door slamming hard enough to knock a picture off the wall. But mostly, I think about my dad, frozen on his back in that bed, listening to us scream his name. Because whatever was in that house that night, it didn't want us to come upstairs. It wanted to make sure no one was coming down.